Hello, viewers. Marianne from Revealing Light Tarot. How are we all today, wherever you are in the world while you're watching? Hello, and thank you for tuning in. I want to look at some viewers' questions today. We will start with the voting machines or voting machine patents that Ivanka Trump purchased in 2018 from China. Where did all of that go? When I look at the internet, I can't find anything more current than that story in 2018. Viewers repeatedly ask, whatever happened to them? We'll throw some cards on it. I also want to look at the very tragic case of George Floyd. You would be aware of another death in custody, Black death in custody. Terribly, terribly tragic and sad. And the police officer and officers that stood on and looked at what was happening to a man that was clearly struggling to breathe. I can't breathe. I want to look at whether there'll be justice for George Floyd, whether those police officers, the police officer with his knee on George Floyd's neck, basically strangling him to death, will he be charged, and will those police officers that looked on also be charged? I've been asked multiple times to look at whether Susan Rice will be Biden's VP. I've done a reading on Biden's VPs. You can go back and have a look at that. Everyone has their favourite. The results of my last readings were that Kamala Harris and Amy Klobuchar were then in front. I think that is still the case, although we've now got Val Demings in Florida, former police chief, also being vetted as a possible VP choice. So we'll take another look at Val. I also still get that strong pull to Elizabeth Warren, which I can't explain. We'll take a look at that. We're not going to redo all the candidates. We'll just take a look at Susan Rice and Val Demings again. And of course, the war with Twitter and Trump. We'll see if anything will come from that. My intuition is that it is not going to come to too much at all. This is an attempt to threaten and silence them and stop them censoring his or the GOP's or alt-right wing content. This is again another political smoke screen. Also want to just tune in to Biden's campaign. So let's move forward with the viewers Q&A. All right, those voting machines. What's happened to Ivanka Trump's voting machines? Where did all that go? Why hasn't there been anything pursued other than the original story? Has she started making them? What's going on there? Now, of course, she has to declare while she's in the White House. She has to declare what she's doing. It could be she's waiting for a more opportune time to go ahead with that rather than while she's still in the White House. But let's have a look at those voting machine patents. What happened with them? Why did Ivanka Trump purchase those voting machine patents from China? Why did Ivanka Trump purchase those voting machine patents from China? Now, of course, it would be an interesting story to see because anything coming out of China now draws the Trump's wrath. We'll see. Let's have a look. The King of Swords. So we've got the general investigation into Trump's children and Trump that has dogged this presidency for the last almost 3 to 4 years. So the King of Swords, investigations. What is that being challenged by? Strength. So I feel that probably, I haven't got to the outcome yet, but I think that not much came of this at this time because of the investigatory nature of, as soon as the Democrats took power in 2018, it then implied or applied a level of accountability on the White House. However, at the base of the foundation of the reading is the King of Pentacles. So in one way, this was a purely and utterly a money-making scheme, although back then there could have been some idea that these machines, that eventually a manufacturer of these machines, could have assisted her father at election time. Clearly, investigations and the strength of those investigations interrupted those plans. That's what I'm seeing in the cards. Three of Cups. Of course, this is circles of support. This can also be cover-ups. This can also be more than one person was involved. So I wonder if these patents for these voting machines may have been a very early plan of the Trumps, which, of course, once the Mueller investigation into Russia emerged and the strength of those investigations and oversight, that this plan may have been shelved. But we'll keep going. There was definitely some secrecy around the buying of those patents, something that was hidden from our view because that's in the sky. Let me pull the laptop down. Let's see what's in the immediate future. These were, everything comes back. She's a chip off the old block. Apple didn't fall far from the tree. Everything comes back to money with this woman. The Eight of Cups, though, in the here and now, along with the King of Pentacles and the strength of those investigations, turning away from something which is no longer serving her. There was just too much of a spotlight on her for things to proceed at this stage. The Ten of Cups in the environment around, this is a loss. At present, this is a loss for her father and, of course, for the Trump entourage in November. They're facing loss. All right, let's have a look at what's in the fears, hopes and fears. The Seven of Pentacles. What started out as a business adventure is now being reviewed because this is the card of review, not getting the money back on the investment or fears that they wouldn't get the money back on the investment. Could you imagine the controversy of Ivanka Trump's voting machines actually going into an election? Or even anything that was tied to her. The other aspect of this is that this patent came from China. We've got Russia in the outcome position, so that's interesting. Russia, perhaps, can you believe it? Can I say, this is, of course, is an alleged, this is an entertainment reading. It's not based on truth. Let me just make that clear. Can you believe that I feel that Russia was also in this plan and that somehow they thought they could pull it off? But there is an inevitable ending, the Judgment card. Again, going back to the strength of the Mueller investigation and the secrets, the moon, what was being hidden from our view. All of that is coming to an end now, or has come to an end over the course of the last 3 years. So she might have bought those patents. Now's not the time to roll them out. And, as diabolical as what it sounds, it appears that this was a way, perhaps done in discussions with Russia, because the Empress card is there, but it was also done for income. So, never let it be said that Joe Biden's son is profiting from the presidency, or what profited from his vice presidency, because the Trump children are in their boots and all. The Magician card at the base of the pack, and we've got new starts. This is a Biden win, and it has effectively halted their plans, halted the march forward. So some people talk about Mueller as not being successful. I think I've always said that he will go down in history, ending as the pivotal moment that ended the Trump presidency and stopped the GOP's march toward what looks like real nefariousness in these cards. Again, this reading is for entertainment purposes only. So an interesting read on the voting machine. Let's look at Biden's VP very quickly. Just a couple of cards for Susan Rice and a couple of cards for Val Demings. Let me give these cards a good shuffle because that was an interesting read on the voting machines. Clear that energy out, and let's put this new energy around Biden's VPs. So I have to say, when I opened up for this reading, I did ask who was Biden's VP going to be, and Spirit didn't show me who that was. I actually got someone with a tape, well, not a tape, but in other words, there was great secrecy around it, and that we perhaps aren't meant to know at this stage. If answers don't come easily, that's Spirit's way of saying that things have to unfold before I make any sort of prediction. But we'll just take a general look at Susan Rice. We'll start with Susan Rice. So there were fairly strong feelings that Susan Rice, former Director of National Intelligence for Obama, former President Obama, very, very clever lady, very experienced, but she didn't have an easy run in that role, and there were certain controversies that dogged her. However, that's in the past. A lot of things now that provided gaslighting for the Republicans prior to 2016 currently don't have any traction. So Susan Rice, show me, is she a contender? Is Susan Rice a contender? Contender for VP, Biden's VP. I feel there may have been some initial talks with her, discussions being had with her. Will Susan Rice be Biden's? I'm not feeling a big pull. I feel the moment might have been gone. I feel that she may have been in consideration. But, again, as I keep seeing this, almost secrets need to be kept. But let's have a look. We've got the World card. That's a very strong major arcana. It is normally my my yes card, but it's also endings and new beginnings. I was talking about what may have dogged her in the past no longer is relevant at the moment. The Six of Pentacles, giving and receiving help. She may even be advising the Biden campaign already. The Ten of Cups, the voters. Let's keep going. And the Queen of Wands, she is a very, very strong candidate. Again, the past baggage would be in the past, and she would be able to move forward into the future. The Nine of Wands, so she may have had to defend herself on that world stage in the past. Now, I'm a bit hazy on her background, but I do feel there was some controversy around in the past that she may have had to defend herself from. But we've got the Ace of Pentacles here, which is new starts, underneath the giving and receiving help. I feel that Biden's campaign could be talking to her about a role in the administration in the future. Absolutely. The Queen of Swords, my card for the House Democrats, the voter, the Democratic Party, that she is actively being spoken to, I feel, at the moment. And the Five of Pentacles, clarifying the Queen of Wands. She's now being brought back into the inner sanctum. Now here we've got Biden at the base of the pack. That King of Cups is my card for Biden. We do have the Three of Swords, which is not an actively positive card. But again, the base of the pack talks about what is current now. I feel this is talking about moving on from troubled waters. So I don't see an outright yes, but I'm not perturbed by that. What I do see is that they're talking to her at the moment, that she is advising on policy as well, that some of that past baggage is being left behind, and that her skills are being sought out. Now, will she be the VP? Perhaps. All right, so let's move to Demings. And in fact, all of the candidates, or the current crop of people that are being considered, they've all got a chance. This is just my impressions only. Let's move to Demings and see what sort of cards we get for Val Demings. Now, Val was one of the House impeachment managers in the Senate sham trial. She is a former police chief. I think she is from Florida. Lots of my viewers wrote in and said, "What about Val?" They had strong feelings that she might come up higher in the race, and of course, the fact that she's now being vetted shows that she actually has risen in Biden's considerations. There's a lot of groundwork going into getting this right, I feel, and perhaps that's why Spirit won't give me an answer, because it could change. Somebody who was thought of as being the logical candidate a few months ago may not be that now. So, Demings, I feel also that the Biden campaign is assessing on what is going on politically as well. So Val Demings, is Val Demings going to be the VP? Joe Biden's VP. Is Val Demings going to be Joe Biden's VP? Val Demings going to be Joe Biden's VP. She's certainly being approached, and we've got the lover's card. I actually got a vision of someone presenting her with a bouquet of flowers. She's very warmly and positively perceived. The Page of Pentacles, though, is not a king, it's not a queen. She's undergoing a vetting process at the moment, the Page of Pentacles. They could even be looking into her. I mean, I would assume those vetting processes are very, very stringent. Got the Nine of Cups, the Wish card, the wanting miracles to happen. She would get a lot of support. She'll get a lot of support. We've got the Wheel, very strong major arcana here. Very strong. The Lovers and the Wheel card. I'm using my Celtic Tarot, by the way, Universal Celtic Tarot. She's got very positive cards, but underneath we have the Devil card. They're looking for what could trip her up, and there could be something in her role as former police chief that might rule her out. I feel the Knight of Swords, some kind of truth there. The King of Wands. This could be some kind of case that she battled, but I've got the Six of Wands, which is victory, underneath the Wheel. I would not discount Val Demings at this stage. Not discount her at all. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what occurs there. I want to just go back. No, I won't go back. We'll just do the two, because I'll update the reading closer to August, which is when Biden said we would hear something. Let's move to Twitter now. I'm going to just change the deck over to my Wheel of the Year Tarot. Let's have a look at Twitter, social media. Trump signed an executive order. This followed his fight with Twitter over Twitter placing some fact-checking sentence at the bottom of his tweets around mail-in voting. This, of course, followed Trump's attack on Joe Scarborough and that very, very false, hurtful accusation I'm not even going to repeat here. So let's have a look at Twitter and Trump and this executive order. I feel that this is, again, a threat, more of a threat to social media platforms around how highly they place certain stories. So I guess, in a way, suppression. It's to threaten them into suppressing unfavourable postings toward Trump as we move to the election, and to allow those other more favourable right-wing conspiracy theory, those kind of posts to dominate things that aren't true. I mean, the thing that struck me about this executive order is that it would hurt Trump, who is perhaps as the President of the United States, one of the biggest, we'll just call liars. I mean, thousands of lies. So it would hurt him. It would hinder his ability. So, which is why I think it's more of a threat. I've also read attorneys and constitutional experts saying it's just not something he has the power to do. So your Twitter's safe, I think, but did this threat stick is the question. Did Trump's threat in his executive order, will it change what the social media platforms do? Yes, it will. I'm feeling. I've got the Ace of Wands, which is a new plan to tackle a problem. Let's see what's the challenge is. Victory. Okay, here's now, I should say, this is a message I gave my patrons today on Patreon. Don't drown in the negativity of Donald Trump. Bear in mind that he is very widely disparaged. His popularity just isn't there among the majority. That's starting to be reflected on social media. This is all about his election chances. Let's bring the laptop down. Okay. So yeah, look, it's high levels of anxiety. If he doesn't have access to gaslighting, and people are fact checking him, then that is harming his chances of being re-elected. So this is all a plan. It's not going to stick, but it certainly is a way of taking a stick to these platforms. The hermit, isolation. Trump is isolated at the moment. What's in the sky? Trump himself. This is all about Trump and all about the election. The King of Wands in the immediate future. This could go to, obviously his executive orders will go to the court, but Congress has to pass something. So, Congress might even come out and say, look, Trump doesn't make the laws, we do. But it definitely will go to the courts. The 10 of Cups, it's all about the voter at the moment. And the environment around that is his polls. He is aware of how he is tanking in the polls. The level of judgment. And what does judgment do? Inevitable ending. Can't really stop it. The wheels are already in motion for an inevitable ending for him. And of course, the thing about judgment is it does shed a light on Trump. This could also be the Supreme Court here, and how they might rule. Okay, the Knight of Pentacles. This is it's basically a put-up job, trying to get these social media platforms to toe the line. And I'm going very strongly with the 10 of Pentacles, my card for the Trump organization. This is a setup for what might be coming forward around his taxes. It's around how the Supreme Court might rule. I've just got that really strong pull that is trying to silence social media for what's coming in the future, and it is around his organization. It is around with that King of Wands, around the court's decisions to release information. So he's trying to suppress commentary, information that might come forward on social media channels in the future, which means he's got an indication that one or more of these decisions, his taxes and his financial records, are in the Supreme Court, with the Supreme Court for decision, or hearing, I should say, not decision, hearing and then decision. He may feel not as confident about those as perhaps he once was. The 5 of Pentacles being left out in the cold. At the end of the day, he is becoming a parody of himself. He's becoming a caricature of himself. It is the portrait of Dorian Gray, and this is what he is feeling like. Queen of Wands, people are moving against him. People are mobilizing. People are inspired to finish his presidency off. We've got all sorts of groups coming together, Republicans and Democrats alike coming together to try and get rid of him. Moving on. So his presidency at the moment is not going anywhere. This is the Hanged Man. Everything is suspended. But this is what we've got. We've got the Ten of Swords for Trump, and this is utter downfall, and the Eight of Wands, things coming through very, very quickly. This is what is going on at the substrata level at the moment, is the ending. The ending. We're seeing the ending of a presidency, and the new beginnings, those green shoots that come out of the ground in springtime, the new shoots of something new developing. So that's what I feel about Twitter and his executive order. I don't think it's going to be able to be legally enforced. It is a threat to prepare in front of something else, which means that he is not feeling confident about which way the SCOTUS may go. All right, I just want to take, before we sign off, I just want to take just a couple of cards to look at Biden's, the health or otherwise of Biden's campaign. He made an appearance at Memorial Day. He appeared in a black suit along with his very beautiful wife, and in his black mask, and he's changed his profile picture on Twitter to him as in the mask. His campaign, people were comforted when he came out in Delaware. People were comforted by his appearance. He's released a condolence video marking the tragedy of the deaths in the US. He's just presenting himself as that really viable alternative to Trump. This is Joe Biden, the King of Cups, as opposed to Donald Trump, King of Pentacles. Those energies really sum it up very well in the tarot. So how's Biden's campaign going? I feel very, very strong at this point in time. It's almost like this is Biden's election to lose, and I'm not seeing that he will lose it. This isn't to underestimate the roughness of the times that we live in everywhere, not just in the US, but particularly in the US. The rough times that we are having to deal with, and that things are likely to get worse before they get better. It's not to gild that lily. It's to look at what people want when times are so tough. Where do they want to turn to? They want to turn to that energy of the King of Cups. Now, that is not Trump. All right, so how is Biden's campaign going? How's Joe Biden's campaign going? Okay, so I'm getting the Temperance card, which is what I pulled. Now, I am aware that there is a transitional time until January the 20th or 21st, while Trump, after the election, where this is almost like a transitional handover time. People are very worried about what sort of damage Trump might do during that time. But I do feel in December, after that election, people, as in the lead up to Christmas, you're just going to get tremendous, tremendous relief. Even though times will still be tough, you're just getting this collective sigh of relief. Okay, so show me Biden's campaign. Show me Biden's campaign. Yeah, I can't help but see that Temperance card. So we've got the Four of Cups here. We've got this disappointment. People are bitterly, bitterly disappointed in the current regime. They absolutely want this new start. And of course, this is what Trump fears. Remember, that came up in his executive order as a plan for the future. This is also a new start for the electorate for the US. Things are coming. One cycle is coming to an end. One of my mentors said to me, this astrological patterns mark the end of Trump's professional life, and I do feel that is the case. Whenever I pull cards, I see things coming to the end of a cycle and the beginning of another. And the Princess of Pentacles, the Queen of Pentacles. So I think this is a matter of security. It's the economy, it's national security, it's all of those things. They want stability. They want stability, and they want to see that brought forward. As I said, the endings of cycles. Where has partisanship, the Five of Wands, gotten us? Where indeed the Three of Cups, circles of support. And we do have the Queen of Pentacles. So this is the Page The Page of Pentacles. Okay, so that could actually even be his financials. But we do have this stability, wanting stability. I think also people are very, very heartbroken about the high number of deaths there, and there's this just real sadness, real sadness. And we've got the Four of Swords, which one of my favourite cards in this deck, because this is the groundhog, is it? Is that your groundhog? People don't want this to go on. They want it stopped. Okay, so for all those reasons, the King of Cups is coming into the frame. And if I keep pulling from the deck, if I wanted further clarifiers to the outcome position, I do have the Six of Wands, which is victory. He is victorious at the moment. And the Page of Wands, this is carrying a new message. It's not a queen, it's not a king, but it's the start of something at the moment. That as things get worse, Biden's perception or Biden's support with the Two of Cups gets stronger, because nobody wants to repeat the Trump experience. So that's it from me. Viewers Q&A. Have a wonderful weekend. I'll be back again next week. I'm also going to start a new series, or a new group of readings under inspirational people. If you've got a suggestion for who inspires you, tell me about it in the comments thread, and if I can, I will read on them. I can't read on all of them, but from those I will choose the ones that I feel that I can resonate with, and that would be very beneficial for you to look at intuitively and psychically and clairvoyantly. And we'll start this new segment so that we can drop these inspirational people in. As you know, as we see Trump going more out of control, and things getting a little bit rougher for us, we need to bear the end game in mind. We need to understand that finish line, that we're moving toward that, but we also don't have to drown in despair either. So at a time when there is great sadness around, now, that reminds me, I do want to pull and go back to my Celtic deck before I go any further. On the note of great sadness, I want to see if those police will be charged in the George Floyd case. And, I hope that this isn't going to trigger anyone, because it is a very, very, what can I say? No words. I have no words. All right, so... Okay, George Floyd, is there going to be justice for George Floyd? And again, these are the sorts of things that people look to Biden to fix. George Floyd, is there going to be justice for George Floyd? Going to be justice for George Floyd. It's a volcano. Queen of Swords. Yes, there is. There is going to be justice. That's truth coming forward. The Knight of Cups, an offer being made. The Nine of Cups, people want to see this happen. And the Six of Wands, victory, yes. There is going to be justice for him. And I do feel, well, I didn't ask if those police will be charged. So we've got Trump in the frame. He's also now, he and Barr are also wanting justice. We've got Biden. We talked about Biden, and really the Six of Cups, going back to a time where this wasn't accepted, where racism wasn't so in your face, with those militias protesting, carrying their torches, and such obvious, waving around Nazi flags. All of this contributes, this gaslighting, this alt-right wing mentality, all of this contributes to whether people think they can get away with something or not. Will those police be charged? Will those police be charged? There will be justice for him. 9 of Pentacles. Okay, so this is generally a yes card. It talks about freedom. And we've got the Queen of Wands. Okay, so what's challenging their freedom is this movement. George Floyd has become, his death has become a symbol, and it has mobilised people. The Knight of Pentacles, it's not going to come quickly enough for people. And we have the World card. So again, yes, this is something that has gone all around the world. I hear about it. People are grieving this in other countries. It's not something that can be swept under the carpet. The 8 of Swords, people are so upset about this. They want to see these police charged. And again, I'm getting another yes card, another ace, and we've got the 7 of Pentacles. The case is being reviewed at the moment, and with that World card there, I feel that there is going to be a charges laid. Now I'm getting the 3 of Cups, so there could be 3 people who are charged. The Knight of Swords, things coming forward very, very quickly, really out of people's bitterness and disappointment, and people coming together, I feel, to move this situation forward. That is our Hanged Man, the Magician, actualizing something into reality, and the Hierophant card. Yes, they will be charged. It's talking about the government intervening, the law intervening, the Attorney General intervening, and charges being laid. So yes, there will be justice done for George Floyd. On that note, I will finish now, and I'll be back again for another reading soon. Thank you for tuning in.